All right, we're doing our next guide. So we're gonna go over Drive Impact today. Again, in more depth this time. We're gonna go over all of the Drive Impact scenarios. Just to give you guys a heads up on what you should do and how to pressure your opponent, how to deal with burnout and things like that. Just so you guys know all of your options so you're not getting gimmicked out or getting hit by Drive Impact when you shouldn't be. And if you guys are brand new to Street Fighter 6 or you're brand new to fighting games and you missed out on my basics Drive Impact guide, I highly suggest you watch that first. Then come back to this because I'm going to assume you know like the very bare bones about the mechanic. So we're going to jump right into it. Let's go into a survival horror experience here, okay? You're the one who's in Burnout and you're the one who's in the corner. What do you do? And the opponent's got full drive gauge. Monka S. Think about the next game. You guys are trolling. I guess the first thing people would do is like hold up and hit the eject seat, right? We gotta get out of here. We're gonna die, right? Jump and pray. That actually is, it's legit a pretty good answer. The awareness part of it is a good first step, you know? Knowing right away, hey, I'm in Burnout, I'm in the corner. Drive Impact is the #1 priority right now. I need to have that on my mind, right? So you start jumping. And of course, if he happens to do DI, if we read it right, we get a jump in, and then we have our chance to escape. Something like this. DP, and then we're out of the corner. So we say the shoe's on the other foot, right? If I'm playing Ken, once you get high enough level, I know that he knows that I'm gonna Drive Impact, right? So obviously, all you have to do is just chill and sit there and wait for them to jump. So when that happens, if you jump and the guy didn't do DI, then you basically checkmated yourself, you know? Because then you're just gonna get hit by DI on the way down. You know, or worse, you're gonna get hit by an uppercut and then you're back in the blender and you have to guess again. Jumping forward and out also might be pretty good too, but then you'll get, you know, cross-cut DP like this, you know. But one thing a lot of people forget about is if someone does Drive Impact just raw on you like this, you can just chill and wait and throw them. A lot of people know that Drive Impacts aren't throw invincible, right? But a lot of people forget that you can throw the Drive Impact at long ranges. You just sit there and chill, and even if he does DI really far away, you can throw him. Or better yet, you can do a back throw, right? Because then you can turn the tables on him. Like this, see? So don't be too afraid of the Drive Impact if he does it like in neutral. You have to be really patient, you have to wait for it. And since, you know, I'm playing Lily, you can command grab it too. That would be like max deeps. And you can, you know, go back to neutral. But what if the opponent gets smart now and he cancels his block string into DI? So now we're in a situation I can't jump. I can't throw him either because the gap is too small because he's at mad frame advantage because you're on Burnout. He's +4 more than usual. So at this point, the last resort is to do a super. And they're specifically used in this situation where you have nothing left. If someone does a block string, you pretty much have to guess, right? And do super because they'll be too fast. But if you guess right, you know, you get a full punish and you get out of the corner. And this interaction is going to happen a lot in the future once more people understand. What do you do when you're Zangief? You're screwed. If you're Zangief, you're done. And don't forget too, you can do like level 2s and level 3s. It's character specific, but you can get like a massive punish too. You know, if you do a level 3, you can get some really big damage that way. What I would suggest to do, let's say I'm playing Lily and someone has me close to the corner. I would be churning my super like crazy. So I'm going like this. I'm just going like this. I'm wiggling. And then as soon as I see the flash, I'm going to press punch. You know? And it's the same when Ken's doing a block string on me. Like, if Ken's hitting me in a block string, I'm going to be... I could hold back and go like this. Right? And as soon as I see him cancel into a flash, and he gets greedy and goes for the DI, then I could just press punch, and then the super will come out. It depends which character you're playing and what direction your super is. But that's the best way, I think, to defend against it. Just don't forget about the level 1 super. Now, there are some other things you can do if you're out of super completely and you're in Burnout and you're in the corner, but it's like very character specific. So one is you can use like an armor attack. So Marisa's Scutum. This armor's up on the 3rd frame. Obviously, you can't do the OD version because you're in Burnout. So you have just enough space to armor Ken in this example. And then you can get a full punish on him. Something like this. Right? And then you can cash out with level 3 and do mad damage and put him in the corner. So if you're Zangief, even if you don't have a level 1 super that's gonna, you know, get you out and hit Ken, at least you have one armor attack, right? You can use your heavy punch. You're not gonna get a big punish, but at least the option is there when you no longer have drive gauge to absorb it. Also, if your character has some kind of dodge mechanic in some kind of way, like Chun-Li's stance where she goes really low to the ground off the top of my head, like this. Blanca would be like the same thing, where he'd go underneath, like that. Yeah, the chat suggested the hop. That will work too. You just hop past them. Blanca OP. That's pretty funny. So you're probably wondering at this point, what if you don't have a level 1 super and you're not playing the characters I just showed you, and you're in Burnout and everything? Well, at that point, you pretty much have to say to yourself, how'd you get in that situation in the first place, right? That is the benefit of holding on to super and not just doing level 3s. So work on your awareness of when you're in the corner and you're getting close to it, and when you're, you know, getting burnt out, and understand the consequences of being burnt out. There is one mechanic that Capcom put in the game to help prevent some super cheese, especially when like it's unpreventable for you to get hit by DI. So for example, if Blanca puts down a Blanca-chan doll and he uses it, and then I DI on the exact same frame, you'll see on the right side of the screen it says lock. It prevents you from being checkmated, basically. Like that, see? So you won't take any damage, you won't get stunned, and you get saved. I'll show one more example. With Jury, you can do the same thing. You just throw a slow fireball and then you DI on the same frame. Like this, and you see lock. So Capcom did think of this, and I'm sure when they add more characters to this game, there will be more scenarios like this. So if you don't get a lock, that means there was something you could have done to get out of that situation, as long as you have at least a level 1 super. Okay, I want to clarify stuff on drive impact block strings now, because I'm seeing people having problems with drive impacting people back, and they think that it's unavoidable. So this time, you actually have drive gauge, and now you can drive impact the opponent back. And, you know, Ken does something like this. He'll go heavy punch into drive impact. So what I'm seeing happening here is that there are some players that think you can't get out of this, because they'll press DI like I just did, and your DI doesn't come out, and all of a sudden you get hit. But what's happening here is, since you can cancel into drive impact from a button, you're getting stuck in that block stun from the first hit, and your character's not able to act yet. But it doesn't matter. Even though you can't drive impact them immediately, as long as you drive impact before the hit hits you, you're going to get the punish. So just to show this, so I press it late, right? And then it's still fake. So you don't have to worry about any kind of block string, whatever they do. So if Ken goes like this, you know, he's going like this, then all of a sudden, boom, he throws it out. So he's doing a bunch of lights, you're just sitting there, you're chilling, and then as soon as you see it, no matter what block string they do, if you have drive gauge, you'll be able to DI them back, because drive impact only does one hit, and you have full armor on yours on the very first frame. So it doesn't matter if you did the last second, you're gonna win, as long as you did it second. But one piece of advice I can give you, to if you're like, you don't want to care about the timing, you're like, oh man, you know, now I have to worry about pressing it late instead of early, I'm supposed to react to it. I recommend, dude, just mash, man. Just mash that thing out. As soon as you see that flash, just mash like crazy until something good happens. That's what I personally do, because there's going to be a ton of different block strings that people are going to do on you that are going to have different timing, especially if you're playing like online with different connections too. I highly just recommend is, as soon as you see the DI flash, just mash that drive impact like crazy, and as soon as you're able to act again, your character's able to move, then you got it, then you're fine. Can you throw DI in block stun? You can, but it's dangerous, because there's some block strings where there's not enough time, right? In this instance, you can. But remember, even if you were right and you threw them, you're not getting a big enough punish, you know? A throw is not good enough. You have to make them pay. So you want to do your own drive impact. And once again, if you're in Burnout, don't forget that their block strings are more dangerous, because they're more frame advantage. Another scenario is if the opponent tries to anti-air you with drive impact. I see some people doing this. I wouldn't recommend this. It's not real. If someone tries doing this, you have enough time once again. Even though you're late, just as soon as you touch the ground, just start mashing DI. And you'll punish them, because you recover as soon as you touch the ground. you know, so you'll be able to DI them back. So keep that in mind, that any like drive impact anti-air is pretty fake unless they did it absurdly early, but then they would hit you out of the air. You know, that means they'd be guessing. They're not reacting to your jump, they're just guessing. Meaty DI is the same thing. If they knock you down and they time it so their DI hits you just as you get up and you can act again, same thing. You see the flash, no matter what, no matter if they time it perfectly, you'll always be able to drive impact them back. Like I said, the main takeaway I'm trying to explain here, every time the opponent presses drive impact, they are taking a risk. And it's important for you to know that everything you're seeing is fake and you could have countered it. Now I want to give you some tips on pressure. So let's say you're the aggressor and you knock down your opponent and you're going in on them and you're scared of them doing wake up drive impact on you. I'll show you guys some tips on how to deal with that. So let's say I'm Ryu, I knocked Ken down, you know, and then I want to do like a meaty, for example, and then boom, I get hit by DI and you're like, oh, this is so whack. Now I have to worry about him doing DI. So what you have to do is you kind of have to change how you press the advantage in Street Fighter 6. It's different from 5. There's ways to maintain pressure but still be safe against drive impact. And one way is to just mash lights. Because what happens is when you press light buttons, you see how when he's absorbing the hits, the game starts to slow down, or Ken starts to slow down. This is called hit stop. And what's happening is every time you hit someone during their wind up of drive impact, it's making it slower and slower. I can probably just jab Ken out of it completely. Like if I knock Ken down and I go light, 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 it's gonna break him of his armor because he only has 2 hits of armor. Once you get to the 3rd hit, it breaks it completely. But you want a bigger punish than that, obviously. So the best thing you would do is you would go light, light. You see him absorbing the hits, and then you have enough time to DI back, right? Crouching light punches are some of the best options for lights, because if I was doing crouching light kick with Ryu, I can't cancel this button into DI. This is not cancelable. And once again, you see when Ryu does crouching light punch, I flash red. It's because I have this option on in training mode. It's called cancel timing display. I have it on. So if Ryu flashes red, I know I can cancel this into DI. So this is a safe button to pressure somebody with, because at any point I see DI, I can DI them back. You know, like crouching light kick, I can't. So I'll show an example of this. So I see Ken go like that, it's like, oh, I get hit. Set punish counter. Standing light punch, same thing. It's also red, so I can do both, like this. No problem. This is the same situation if you do drive rush. So let's say I knock him down and I want to press the advantage with drive rush. I want to go in like this, right? And I see it. I'm doing the lights as a precaution. Because even if he doesn't do it, he blocks instead, because you don't know if he's going to do drive impact or not. It's okay, because you're still plus, you know, when you're doing drive impact. You still get your turn. You know, it's like an option select. You go medium, you know. Medium's another cancelable button. I knock him down, I use a cancel button like medium, I see it, and then I DI him back, right? So you have to be very conscious on what buttons you're using under pressure. You know, like let's say you're in neutral, like just neutral versus Ken. Standing medium kick is a really good check button. It stops people from sneaking in those crouching medium kicks on you. It keeps them out. But the weakness of this button is they can get hit by drive impact. So if you're sticking this button out, you're gonna get blown up. Capcom did this on purpose. They want some of these super long range buttons to have a weakness. Sometimes you have to like bait with light kick, you know, you go like light kick instead, and that you can cancel, you know, or crouching medium punch, for example. It's also worth noting that heavy mediums add even more hit stop than lights. Yeah, that's a good tip too. Like if I do like a heavy punch, that's even more hit stop. Really good, especially if it's like a multi-hitting heavy. So let me give another example with Marisa. Let's say I knock them down, right? And then he's gonna do wake up drive impact. This is a really good pressure tool for Marisa to use standing medium kick, because after standing medium kick, I can go back heavy punch and get really good deeps, right? But I have to have the awareness to know that if I'm doing this, I risk getting hit by wake up drive impact, right? If I knock him down and I go in with this, I can't press DI back, because I can't cancel this button. You have to change how your pressure strings are if you're playing against somebody who likes to DI a lot. It doesn't mean I should never use medium kick ever. It just means there's a risk to it, because medium kick has its payoffs, right? Like if he tries to jump, I get my back fierce. If he blocks, you know, then I'm plus, right? And I'm in throw range. There's benefits to it. You just can't do it every time. It can't be telegraphed. So I'm gonna find a cancelable button. So I'm like medium punch, crouching medium punch. Crouching medium punch, you can cancel it. So I knock him down. I go crouching medium punch. I see the DI. I I see the DI, and then I cancel the DI. Once again, I recommend, in that situation I just got hit, I press DI just once. I recommend whenever you see DI, you mash DI. You have to make sure it comes out. Because even if you miss that first input, you still have a chance to DI at the end, right? As long as it's before you get hit. Lights again, I'll show you lights. So go in, light, same thing. Use the hit stop to your advantage. That's the weakness of drive impact if someone wakes up with it. And then there's just throws. Throw is still one of the best options for a wake up. It's one of the most common, you know? You just drive rush, you throw, doesn't matter if he DIs. And of course it doesn't beat command grabs either, you know? You get hit by big deeps. Another thing is you gotta change up your patterns and your block strings to bait people. So let's say you're playing Lily, and then you always go crouching heavy punch into your stock, like that, right? You're gonna get hit by drive impact. But what you can do is you can change your block string to bait it. So instead of doing the medium heavy version, I do the light, and all that's gonna do is make Lily just get the wind stock. So you can bait the drive impact, go like this, you see the DI, and then you can DI back. And make the opponent second guess themselves from doing it. If you poke a crouching medium kick and you do like fireball, you're gonna get hit there too. But what you can also do is, since they only have 2 hits of armor, if you can figure out a way to do 3 hits, like in Ryu's example, if I do OD fireball, that's 2. So crouching medium kick into OD fireball is 3 hits. It'll break it. So if you don't know they're gonna drive impact, so that's one way to deal with it. And if they block, then you know you're safe because it's OD fireball. This is another crazy example, but if you go into a move that's super cancelable, that's another way that can save you last second. Let's say like you were in Burnout and you go into light palm with Ryu or light fireball. If you see the flash because of the hit stop, you can go right into your level 3. Luke has a super cheap example of that too. Like against Luke, you do that charge, his knuckle. That's how you stop his charge knuckle. But the problem is this move is also used in combos. So this thing can go into his level 3. So once Luke charges this thing, you're screwed. You can just go right into your level 3 and beat drive impact. So you have to just accept that Luke's gonna get in if he has level 3 up. So once again, I'm not saying never use normals that aren't cancelable. What I'm saying is that depending on what rank you are, especially if you're in the lower ranks, you know, I notice people do DI a lot more. Just keep that in mind. Like if you think that your opponent is like a drive impact monster, you know, then use the safer buttons because you can still poke and still defend yourself against it. Let's talk about gimmicks now, all right? Ways you can get away with drive impact, but it's still counterable, but you have a high chance of getting away with it. Maybe use this for the first month, okay, before people catch on. But what I like to do is the drive rush trick. So one thing you can do is you can use the green. Even if your opponent's in the corner, let's say, he's gonna have his mind, oh, he's gonna drive impact. So what you can do is drive rush and cancel the drive rush into drive impact. And trust me, it's hard for them to react to it. It's a pretty good gimmick. So if I land like a level 3, for example, and I hit him with it, right? This whole time, this whole cutscene, their mind is, okay, how much drag gauge do I have left if he's gonna drive impact? And then you rush forward and then boom. But if someone punishes you for doing this, don't blame it on me, okay? It works sometimes. Another trick you can do, a lot of people are gonna react to the color of drive impact. If you're really low on drive gauge, okay? Let's say you have like less than a bar. You can drive impact and go into Burnout. So what happens is your character turns black and white and it's harder to see. With Jury, it's impossible. Okay, Jury's DI is already black and white. Sometimes you can get away with it too, because they're reacting to a specific color, and if you're going to Burnout, it's a massive risk, because if they block this, you're screwed. Thanks, Fest. We're gonna see all these in ranked now. No way, no one's gonna use this. Another cool trick you can do is you can air reset into drive impact. A lot of master rank players are doing this to me, and it is hard to react to. So one thing you can do is like, okay, let's say you knock him in the air. Let's say Jamie's level 3. You can do something really cheeky like this. There we go. Right there. And they fall into it. And you could do it twice with Jamie, actually. Let me show you. It's very hard to react to because you don't think about drive impact until you're on the ground blocked. So if they fall into the drive impact, like this, and then you go into it again. It's very good, and every character is capable of doing this because of the wall splat system, right? Like with Honda, I can show you real quick. You know, Honda, you hit him with that. Yeah, it's very evil. And you go like this. See? Even Honda can do it. Remember, they can still drive impact you back. It's just really hard to think about it when you're in that situation. The last thing I want to talk about is your punish with drive impact. The awareness of how much drive gauge your opponent has left. So there's going to be key situations where your opponent does drive impact or a reversal, and they barely have any drive gauge left. And a lot of people forget that you can combo into drive impact. And drive impact, remember, it takes off 1 bar, plus you're taking off another bar for punishing them. So let's say Ken has 3 bars of drive gauge left, right? And he goes for a drive impact, and we punish him successfully, like this. It might be best to hit him with drive impact again, like this. Now he's in burnout. And that would be a really, really bad punish for Ken. He's in burnout, and we push him towards the corner. Supers are really good for this too, you know? All the supers drain drive gauge. Same thing if they do a reversal. You know, if you bait a reversal, you know, most people are going to do, you're going to do your fattest combo, right? But sometimes if they're low on drive gauge, because remember, if they do a reversal, that takes 2. That's even more than drive impact. That's 2. And then you can take off like maybe another 2. Instead of punishing with a button, you use drive impact to punish them instead, right? Because it's going to crumple them. Come on, Ken. There, crumple him. And then we go drive impact again, right? So I'll put him to like 4 bars. He's losing like half his drive gauge. Boom. And I think once this game evolves more, we're going to see this a lot in tournament play, on playing around the drive gauge and putting people in burnout. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and we can always revisit drive impact. I'm sure we'll be talking about this until this game is finally over. But don't forget, guys, if you have any suggestions on a guy you want me to do or something you don't understand you need me to explain, I'll do my best, and just, yeah, leave a comment below and I'll try to get to it when I can, one guide at a time. So thanks everyone for watching. And that's it, guys. Thanks for helping with my guide. Appreciate it.